Wow, hey everybody, we are going viral. I just checked my stats and holy moly, you guys are awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a really quick copper video because I just want to embrace all of my supporters, all my viewers, everything. Thank you so incredibly much. You have no idea. You guys are making my dreams come true. Thank you. First off, copper. There are several different grades of copper. Copper comes in number 1 copper, number 2 copper, and there is some places that buy it as number 3 copper. Now, how do you decipher the difference? Number 1 copper is going to be a pencil, lead, or bigger. Think back in your school days, the number 2 pencils, the wooden ones, about that size. It's kind of wire. Basically, you have to have like a pair of pliers, lineman's tools, something like that to bend. Also known as like Romax wire and such like that. That's going to be your number 1 copper wire. You have number 2 copper wire that is going to be like your household drop cords, extension cords, outdoor drop cords, that type thing. Anything pencil, smaller than a pencil lead is going to be number 2. Number 3 copper insulated is actually going to be cleaned Christmas lights, speaker wire, the real fine stuff, the stuff that if you kind of pick it up, to take a look at your pile, it kind of, if you strip it down and everything, you kind of like, all that work. But that would be number 3. They also have a little secret copper alloy that's called Bare Bright Copper. Now, I'm going to put a couple of pictures up to show you guys what I'm talking about. Bare Bright Copper is the most high dollar copper. A lot of yards, recycle centers and such will not let you know about that. That's why I'm here. In order for it to qualify for Bare Bright Copper, okay, it's got to be at least pencil, lead, or thicker, which would be like your Romax or your, some people like electricians and stuff call it like your 3-in-1. Layman's terms, what that is think of your household wire. If you're, replacing an outlet, light switch, something like that, when you pull the stuff apart, now it's got the plastic and then it's got the 3 little wires in there. There you go. So, Bare Bright Copper is only copper wire. Okay, it's always going to be number 1 copper wire, and the reason that it's called Bare Bright is because it's pure, it's shiny, and there's no impurities. So it's worth a lot more money. Usually, in most cases that I have bought and sold Bare Bright, or even taken my own Bare Bright into recycle centers, junkyards, and such, most of the places, if you take your number 1 copper and add roughly about maybe 10 to about 30 cents on a good day, depending. Here's another fact. Did you know if you look at copper, how you can decipher how much you're looking at for price? Most yards, most recycle centers will have number 1 copper, number 2 copper. Some will even have listed number 3 copper. You know what the difference is? About 10 to about 20 cents a pound. Now, number 1 copper is going to be pure of impurities such as paint, solder, corrosion, stuff like that. All those foreign materials will downgrade your copper. What does that mean? Lower price, less money for you. All you have to do is separate your copper. When you're looking for copper tubing, look for any paint, solder, corrosion, fittings, anything like that. Because all you got to do, a little trick, take a piece of tubing. If you have a piece of tubing like this, and it's got ends on the ends, take a pair of clippers, clip that off, and then if you really want to do real good work, if you're not, don't have anything to do, take a grinder, like a bench grinder or something like that, where you got paint or solder, kind of brush it on there back and forth just a little bit, or like a wire brush. Guess what? Your price just went up. The more you know. When you get into electric motors and stuff, okay, biggest thing with electric motors is open face, closed face electric motors. What do I mean by that? I'm going to tell you. I'm glad you asked. Now, open face motors are going to be kind of cheaper ones. They're going to be found in dryers, washers, stuff like that. I'm going to put a picture up right here for you guys and kind of let you know the difference between open face, closed face motors. Open face motors, now, they are not worth a lot. Let me tell you the secret behind those, how to decipher motors. If you get an electric motor that has a closed face, now what do I mean by that? That means that when you take a look at the motor, it's just going to be a housing. It's going to have the little shaft sticking out here. You're not going to be able to see any of the windings, the copper windings, or you think they're copper. I'm going to explain to you a little trick. Now, when you get into open face motors, the reason that they are open face is because it looks like copper inside. No. Take a screwdriver, a file, anything to that nature. Okay, open it up when you get into the copper wiring there. What it's going to do is it's going to look really, really super shiny, and it's going to have like a coating on it. What's that coating? That coating is a varnish / sealant that they keep from getting a short in the wires. Okay, if you grind that down, the reason that you don't want to take all the copper wire out of open face electric motors, it's aluminum wire, also known as EC wire in the aluminum and scrap industry. Now, what does that mean? If you take your time and tear apart an open face motor, what's going to happen? You're going to spend probably a couple hours, and then when you start pulling stuff apart, you're going to have a really, really bad day. Why? It's silver on the inside. What does that mean? It's aluminum. It's plated with copper. So what does that? What alloy does that mean? I'm going to tell you. If it's aluminum and it's got a plating on, every buyer, every junkyard, every recycle center is going to buy that for the base metals. Now, what's a base metal? Base metal is what the actual metal is that it's made out of for the structure, okay? When they put a plating on, take a ground rod for instance. I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen a ground rod, you know, the little thing that you pound into the ground to kind of help with your electricity at your house. Did you know that's not copper? That's a little grade called copper clad. Now what is that, you ask? Well, I'm going to tell you. Copper clad is an actual ground rod is going to be a steel line, which means it's ferrous. It's going to stick to a magnet. What does that mean? That piece of metal just went from being where you thought it was non-ferrous and worth by the pound for copper, non-ferrous, it actually goes into being steel, which is a ferrous metal. That piece of copper clad that you just had, the actual base metal, there we go again, base metal is going to be steel. So, with the copper plating on there, just like an open face electric motor, aluminum instead of steel on the windings. Now, how do you tell the difference? In my personal looking around, my personal junking, stuff like that, I have found 85 to about 90% of open face motors, meaning if you take it open and it's just got the 4 pieces of aluminum and then you can see the windings and everything, that's also known as an open faced motor. And your easiest thing for that is going to be throwing it on your iron pile for some extra weight. Because with the aluminum wire in the windings, what's going to happen is it's not worth anything. Remember when I told you in the last video about breakage? There's the thing. With an open face electric motor, there isn't copper. It's a copper plating on it. Downgrades it, less money. So, how do you tell the difference? Every single motor that you get ready to tear apart, this is going to make your job a lot easier and your life a lot easier. Every motor that you go to tear apart, take a file, knife, anything. Push down onto the windings and kind of scratch it, you know, put a dent in, ding type thing. What you're looking for is you're trying to get rid of the plating that is up on top to get down to see what the base metal is. Easy, huh? The more you know. Bare bright copper is going to be only, in my previous experiences, if you want to get bare bright copper prices, the only way to do so, bare bright has to be wire. If you get tubing, anything else, it's not going to matter, okay? In most cases, or at least all the times that I have, you know, sold the stuff to a yard, recycle center, anything, they usually don't really consider tubing bare bright. It has to be wire. So, when you look at insulated wire or copper wire, remember, pencil letter bigger, like a number 2 wooden pencil like everybody used back in grade school. If it's that size or bigger, it's going to be number 1. If it's smaller than that, where like drop cords, extension cords, stuff like that, where it's real fine type copper, going to be number 2. Now, with wire, you can't really change the grading, you know, clean it up, stuff like that, like you can tubing. Tubing, what's the secret? Take all of your tubing, clip it down into smaller sections, roughly what I do in a lot of scrappers, junkers, stuff like that, that I go, you know, with the kind of nicknames. I, for one, am a scrapper. I, you know, deal in junk, stuff like that. I feel, you know, I know quite a bit about it. And, you know, that's why I'm, you know, suggesting to you guys any of my, you know, personal info that I've learned over the years. But the big thing is, depending on how interested you are, it's like any kind of business, any kind of hobby, any kind of anything. The more you learn, the more you're going to get ahead. The more you know your alloys. When you go into a junkyard recycle center, if you know the alloys after watching these videos, you're not going to get cheated because you're going to be able to know exactly what you have. Okay? Now, with copper tubing, you want to always cut off the fittings. Fittings, after they've been used, are always number 2. Why? Impurities, paint, solder, corrosion. Okay? Now, the easiest way, and one of my big secrets that I do, honestly, is you take just a wire brush or like a bench grinder, just kind of buff just, you know, shine it up a little bit. Scrapyards don't mind if you do that. And you're actually helping them out. So, what's going to happen? Remember what I told you about if a scrapyard can get the stuff, get it in, get it processed, and get it on the road quicker? You're helping them out. Not only is your price going to go up a little bit, you know, from being number 2 copper to number 1, but you're also learning. And, not only that, if you get, say, 10 or 20 pounds of copper tubing, okay? Say I've got a pile of copper tubing sitting right here in front of you guys. Weighs 20 pounds, okay? Now, best way to look at this from a scrapper's point of view is if you take that 20 pounds of copper, if you clip all, I call it clipping with a pair of clippers, if you clip all the ends off and stuff like that, what's going to happen? You're going to be able to have a bucket full of number 2 copper, which is roughly about 20 to 30 cents less than number 1 in most cases in my area. You know, that's basically how my area handles copper and such. Okay? Now, when you get the paint, solder, corrosion pieces, you're going to clip all those off and you're going to throw those in a bucket. That's going to be your number 2 copper. Anything that you can possibly clean, like, say you got a piece of tubing that's got a piece of, you know, say you had a plumber or something that's having a bad day and, you know, they got a bunch of solder down the side or something like that. You take 5 minutes and buff that off or just knock that piece of solder off, your price just went up. The more you know. Alright, I just wanted to let each and every one of you guys know I am currently watching the stats on my YouTube channel. Everything is going awesome, guys. Please, please, definitely hit that subscribe button. Let's try and break that subscribe button. We have tons and tons of people watching currently around the world. I want to take a personal moment here, and from each and every one of you around the world, I want to welcome each and every one of you to this channel. I truly, truly appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you watching my videos, everything else, and from around the world, welcome to this channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so incredibly much for watching, and thank you so much for sharing this with all your friends. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, folks. Thank you so incredibly much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. So, this will be the copper video. And if there is any questions whatsoever, please leave a comment down below in the section. And I will get to them as fast as I can. Also taking suggestions on videos. What would you guys like to see? What we want to do is we want to be the absolute best channel. We want everybody to want to watch us, stuff like that. Okay, we have roughly, I'm thinking right around 90 or so videos. And one thing I wanted to let you folks know, we're trying really hard to get the camera work, stuff like that. I've been looking at some of the first videos, and in my personal opinion, I can see some improvement, stuff like that. So what I would ask each and every one of you guys to do is just give us a chance, please. Just hit that subscribe button, and we're doing our best. We're getting, you know, new technology, we're getting new software, stuff like that. And we're basically going to be committed to bringing you guys the best possible videos most exciting subjects and stuff like that. So, again, from all of us at this channel, thank you so incredibly much for your support. Keep up the amazing work, and thank you guys so much. And, we are sub for sub channel, so if, you guys, need some subscription, stuff like that, sub to our channel, comment on the video, you know, need a sub back, we got you covered, no worries. So, without further ado, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Welcome to everyone around the world, and thank you guys so much for visiting our channel, and we will see you guys in the next video. We do release videos, brand new videos, every day, to about every other day. So definitely hit that notification button, definitely hit that subscribe button, and we're going to get this viral. Thank you guys so incredibly much, and each and every one of you guys have the most incredible evening ever. Thank you guys so much.